Imagine getting calls from angry banks every single day, not because you owe them money, but because someone you used to trust decided to be petty. Well, my ex-roommate tried it. They thought they were ruining my life. Instead, I turned their little scheme into my personal comedy show. If you've ever dreamed of flipping the script on someone who tried to mess with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because this is one of the most ridiculously satisfying petty revenge stories you'll hear today. It all started with a roommate situation that was supposed to be temporary. When they first moved in, I thought they were a friend. They had hit a rough patch, needed a place to stay, and I had a spare room. The deal was simple. Pay your share of the rent, clean up after yourself, and we'd coexist just fine. But within the first month, the cracks started showing. Rent day came, and suddenly their story changed. "Oh, my paycheck was late. I'll get you next week." Or my favorite one, "Can I just cover it with chores for now?" They weren't just late on rent. Plates sat in the sink for days, trash piled up in the corner. It was like living with a teenager who thought adulthood was just an optional lifestyle choice. The final straw? One month they straight up didn't pay anything, not a cent. I told them calmly at first that this wasn't sustainable. We had a lease, we had bills. This wasn't a charity. They didn't like that at all. You could practically see the switch flip in their eyes, the smile gone, replaced with this cold little smirk. "Oh, so you're that kind of roommate," like expecting someone to pay rent with some kind of personal betrayal. The conversation ended with me making it clear. Either you pay your share and act like an adult, or you're out. They chose out. And honestly, I felt relieved when they left. I figured that was the end of it. But oh, I underestimated just how creative they could get when it came to being petty. The phone calls began. A few weeks after they moved out, I got the first call. "Hi, may I speak to roommate's name?" "No, you've got the wrong number." Click. Annoying but harmless, right? Except the calls kept coming from different numbers. Some were polite, some not so much. "This is your final notice before we send your account to collections. You are past due on your loan payment. We're trying to reach you regarding a delinquent credit card balance." At first, I was confused. Then, after the third call in a single day, it hit me. This was intentional. I pieced it together. My former roommate had apparently given my phone number to every creditor they defaulted on. And judging by the variety of callers, we weren't talking about one or two late payments. We're talking several banks, loan companies, and collection agencies. This was their revenge. They couldn't hit me financially, so they tried to bury me under a mountain of spam calls. I'll admit, for about 48 hours, it worked. I was irritated. Every unknown number made me tense. Every time my phone rang, I thought, what now? But here's the thing. I'm stubborn, and I wasn't about to let them get the satisfaction of thinking they'd gotten to me. So I flipped the script. The next time a debt collector called and asked for them, I didn't say wrong number. Instead, I took a deep breath and cheerfully said, "I have zero intention of paying this debt." You could hear the pause on the other end, like they didn't know whether to be angry or confused. I'd followed up with, "You may have to sue to get that money." And then, click. I'd hang up before they could respond. Day by day, call by call, it became my little game. Some days I'd imagine my former roommate thinking I was pulling my hair out over the constant interruptions. Meanwhile, I was actually laughing, picturing their growing pile of unpaid bills. I also made sure to lock down my credit just in case they ever got any bright ideas about identity theft. Spoiler, they weren't that smart. This wasn't some mastermind villain. This was someone who thought giving debt collectors your number was some kind of criminal level scheme. Debt collectors keep records, meaning every time I answered and confirmed that I wasn't paying this debt without actually claiming to be the debtor, they had to know that this number wasn't a viable contact for payment. Translation, their revenge was actually cutting off one of their main ways to reach them. The calls slowed down after a while. Now, they're maybe once a week. And honestly, I almost miss them. It's a little reminder that my former roommate's life is still as much of a financial disaster as it was when they were mooching off of me. Here's the thing. Revenge doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be destructive. Sometimes the best revenge is not being bothered and letting the other person's bad decisions crash down on them like a wave. Every time I hung up after saying I have zero intention of paying this debt, I felt this quiet little spark of victory because I knew they thought they'd caused chaos for me. But really, they just gave me a front row seat to the slow, steady implosion of their own mess. The peak moment wasn't one big event. It was the realization that they had failed. They set out to annoy me, maybe even humiliate me. And all they did was prove to a long list of creditors that they're unreliable, uncontactable, and deep in default. That moment when I stopped being frustrated and started laughing, that was the win. You know, there's a saying, never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, but the pig likes it. In this case, I didn't wrestle at all. I just stepped back, kept my hands clean, and watched karma do all the heavy lifting. If this story gave you a little bit of satisfaction, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest win you've ever had on the road? And don't forget to subscribe, because I've got plenty more stories where this one came from. And the best part? She knew exactly who beat her. If you've ever wanted instant karma served up hot and fresh, right alongside a side of fries, you're gonna love this story. Hit that like button, subscribe for more stories just like this, and settle in, because fast food justice is on the menu. It was just a regular afternoon. I wasn't in a rush, wasn't running late, wasn't chasing anything but a craving. You know the kind, where your brain suddenly decides it won't survive another hour without a salty, perfectly fried McDonald's fry. I pulled into the turning lane, easing to a stop in the middle. There was oncoming traffic, not too heavy, but close enough that jumping in would have been risky. Technically, yeah, I could have gone if I'd been aggressive, but I'm not the type to gamble my fender or my life over a cheeseburger. So I waited. Hands on the wheel, calm. Then I saw her in my rear view. A woman in a silver SUV, maybe mid-40s, sunglasses perched on her head, gripping the wheel like she was about to enter the Daytona 500. She was clearly going to McDonald's too. I could see the way she kept glancing past me toward the Golden Arches. At first, I didn't think much of it until she did the move. You know the one. Instead of waiting like a normal human being, she jerked the wheel to the right, swung around me, and shot into the intersection, right in front of me and the oncoming traffic. I swear, for a second, my heart stopped. She missed the front bumper of a sedan maybe 2 feet. The other driver slammed their brakes, a horn blared, and a chain reaction of angry honks followed. Meanwhile, she just kept going, cutting straight into the McDonald's entrance like she was the queen of the road and the rest of us were just peasants. I sat there, gripping the wheel, my knuckles white, not from fear anymore, but from that sharp sting of irritation. Because here's the thing, I'm a patient driver. I let people merge, I don't tailgate, I believe in traffic karma. But when someone disrespects the rules so blatantly, especially when they put others in danger, it's like a switch flips in my brain. And in that moment, I knew she was about to get served. When the next gap came, I pulled in behind her. She took the right lane for the drive-thru. I noticed her choice instantly because at this McDonald's, there are 2 ordering lanes. Hers, slightly longer. Mine, shorter, with maybe 2 less cars. That's when my brain started doing the math. If I timed it right, I could beat her to the pickup window. And if I really hustled, I could make it obvious. So I shifted in my seat, scanned the menu in advance, and rehearsed my order in my head. The second I rolled up to the speaker, I was ready. "Hi, can I get a medium fries and a Coke, please?" That's it. No hesitation, no wasted time. I paid in record speed, rolled forward, and there it was. The glorious